Afrikaners are descendants of Dutch settlers who arrived at the Cape of Good Hope on a boat in the year 1652.
What is happening? Can somebody answer?
The Afrikaner Enclave of Orania, which also uses race to determine who can be allowed to live in that community.
There is a town, although small in size, has sent shockwaves through the entire internet.
Orania is a whites-only town. Black people cannot live or work here.
South Africa's only pure white town
that has left a stain on South Africa's conscience.
I'm in love with Orania.
Yeah.
Can I stay in here?
You're not Afrikaner.
Would you say that Orania is a controversial town in South Africa?
Orania is definitely. I don't have to doubt it. I know that Orania is controversial.
Orania.
Smash up the likes. Subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. Welcome to the Chesley Major channel. Chesley Major Media. I'm your host, Chesley Major. And we about to do a real major. What's going on, fam? What's happening, amazing people? Thanks for tapping in to Chesley Major Media. Major salute, I appreciate it. Do me a solid before we get started. Go ahead and smash that like button. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. That helps me in a major way, okay? And I'd really appreciate that. I'm going to be having a major discussion about all-white town in South Africa. There are a few of them, but one in particular, one called Orania. Now, them folks have run roughshod all throughout the continent and South Africa to the point where whites are living high off the hog, while on the other hand, on the other side of town, many South Africans, they're living in shanty towns, dusty tin hut villages. Now, I've been to Africa. I know this to be true. I've seen it myself. Now, not all Africans are living this way. Some of them are well-to-do, but there's a vast majority. On the other hand, like I said, Orania is boomtown. Everything's all nice and plush, armed security, and they're having their way. In a country that is mostly and majority black, white people have the most, while black people are struggling, living in poverty-stricken areas. They don't have many resources, very little clean water. It's just a mess. But we're going to dive into some video. And in this video, a very famous Ghanaian influencer by the name of Wode Maya goes head-to-head with a South Afrikaner as the South Afrikaner tries to explain why they need their own area, their own space.
Why can't a black person come here? It's not the right question. It's more a question like a marriage between two people. It's exclusive affair. Doesn't mean you're against anyone else. You take your wife. She's important to you.
Nigga, please.
Yeah, or and in your wedding, in your marriage, you're exclusive. Doesn't mean it's not built on hate. It's built on love for our culture. We want to preserve our culture. We want to preserve our traditions, our faith, our language. These are the things that we want to preserve.
But someone might ask, if you want to preserve your culture, you're preserving your culture on a land that belongs to South Africans.
The land here, we bought, we paid for it.
You no business, born insecure, junkyard mother.
From who?
Well, at that stage, we bought it from the previous owner, which was the government. All right?
But I don't think an African can leave Africa, go to Europe, and say that we just bought this land and no one is allowed to come in.
Our name is Afrikaners. Our language is Afrikaans. Right. So we feel part of this continent, and maybe people don't agree, but I don't have another home. Obviously I know that I have European roots.
Yeah.
400 years ago.
Yeah.
For 400 years my people have been here.
Yeah.
I love Africa.
I tell beautiful lies.
I don't want to live anyplace else. I feel a part of this continent. My language grew, obviously from Dutch, but it grew on this continent.
With all the monument that I see in here, Would you agree with me if I said this man performed a lot of atrocities in the past?
Well, I think obviously these are controversial figures, and I think the fact that we put them here in Orania with our own funding, some people are uncomfortable in the rest of South Africa to care for them, to see them in public, because this is on private land, private funds, and it's our history.
But I know it's your history, but at the end of the day, a lot of people were harmed in the process. You don't think if you are embracing this, you're definitely embracing apartheid?
Is it okay to celebrate Shaka Zulu leader? Do you know who that is?
I know who Shaka Zulu is.
A lot of people. Is it fine to celebrate him?
That's a question for South Africans.
That is a question. This is a question for Oranians.
What? He was more like the architect for apartheid. Do you agree with that?
I agree with the fact that he implemented a lot of policies in the apartheid era.
You don't think it's because of this that's why people have problems, you know? It's because so many South Africans are not happy with this history, even though it's part of them. But I believe, like you just said, let the past be past. I mean, we can never forget our history. But I mean, I feel like this being here, it's more like a, what do you call it? Like a sword in the eyes of the people of South Africa.
I don't think so.
Nigga, please.
Do you believe that whatever you guys are practicing here is racism?
I do not believe that we are practicing racism.
Wait a minute. Wait.
To tell you the truth, I've said it many times that if the question is, are there racists in Orania, I can assure you they are. There are racists in every town in South Africa, and every country in the world will find racists. That is a fact. The Orania model is a model of cultural preservation, and that is not racist.
Good treatment, man. You have used me. I mean, you have killed a lot of my people.
So you might disagree with me, but my personal belief, my honest belief, is that the Orania model is not racist at all. It is, however, a model to preserve something that we hold dear and to create a future where we can live our values, our religion, our language, and share our culture.
If you check when South Africa gained independence, if you check the coat of arms of South Africa, it said there is unity in diversity. Orania is within South Africa, but at the end of the day, I believe what you are practicing in here is not unity in diversity.
I beg to differ.
I still don't believe he's a nigga. I ain't never heard of no white nigga. So square he try to pass for black.
Can you explain that?
How can there be any diversity in South Africa if cultures are not allowed to be themselves? How can there be any diversity at all? If everyone is the same, there's no diversity. If you have a cultural community and you have the Xhosa people, the Barulong people, and they also embrace their identity, and from a standpoint of knowing who you are, of being proud of your culture, of embracing who you are, you get to a point of self-confidence where you then can put out your hand and say, without anyone forcing us, I can build a diplomatic relationship with this and this, and we can do it on our own terms, community to community. That's unity and diversity.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
To just write it on a coat of arms doesn't mean anything. To live it by creating your own identity. Identity is needed for diversity. Without identity, there is no diversity. Listen, what you're not going to get in Orania is people falling on their knees, continuously saying sorry for their history. A lot of people apologized on our behalf for everything, and there's a lot of internal Afrikaner friction about that. But in Orania, you will find solutions. Maybe it's not the nice cherry on top stuff, people feel warm in their hearts, Orania is so nice to us, but you will find long-term solutions in terms of labor policies, in terms of community-to-community relationships.
Now, as you can see, this guy is very unapologetic for the atrocities that was done during apartheid and even before. Now, there's a reason I put this video together. And reason being is you have a bunch of Africans that come to America and they have their heads up their butts and they have an attitude and hatred towards Black Americans. But they don't have that same smoke for the folks on their continent. FBA, Black Americans, we've shown nothing but love to these people. We are the one that kicked off the Pan-African movement, but we've cut it off because guess what? The love hasn't been reciprocated. There is no reciprocity. They rather butt sniff and run behind whiteness like they do in their country and kick us to the side But no, that won't happen. Not in the country we built. Until they get it together in their country where we can have a safe place to land, hey, all bets are off as far as Pan-African goes. Now, in these countries, they worship white zaddy, and a lot of these people practice self-hatred towards one another and tribalism. They do not like each other. That's why they can't get it together and take their country back. They're too busy hating on one another. And then they come to America and try to do the same to us. But foundational Black Americans, we aren't tribal like all these other peoples. We can go to New York, LA, California, Georgia, and we're all together. At the same time, FBAs are the only people in the whole world that could get these people together. Everybody else is too busy tucking their tail between their legs. And that goes for Black people in the Caribbean and everywhere else. But I want to know what you think about what's going on in South Africa and what's been going on for hundreds of years. The tribalism, the self-hatred, colorism and corruption, the running behind whiteness. Let me know what you think. Get down in the comments section. Leave a comment. I would love to hear your thoughts. Like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. I am Chesley Major. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.